Hello, welcome to another Illustrator tutorial type thing. I need to spend a lot of time in Illustrator because Illustrator is a really important, not say mod, not mod, program. So let's see what we can do with this. So when we have this box selected, what we can actually do is we can right click and do create outlines. And that does something kind of cool. Like if you go into the lasso, it's cute. I actually see quite a lot of stuff with it. Let's work through like each of the different letters and maybe try and do something interesting with each one. So if we go to 300, all right, so you can see that, like, for instance, the A, say we wanted to make these bits like longer on the bottom of the A, we could just do the so round this section, and you can see that because those 4 points are well, they're blue, right? But they're dark. The fill is blue as well. Not, and the other points in the A are white. So what you can then do is you can select this thing, the direct selection tool, and you see if I just drag this down, it's actually going to drag it all the way down. So I could drag that like all the way down there. It actually doesn't line up perfectly, which is kind of strange. But I could do something like that, and that's kind of like an interesting thing, right? Now, say I wanted to make this bottom section of the A, we've got this rectangle here. If I wanted to make that completely full, I'd then have to choose a different section to. So I think I only need 2 points at that point, I think, right? I just need that point. In this situation, I think it's probably best not to do it like that, right? In this, I think if I go, I can just select one of these points, right? I can select that point, and I can select that, yeah. Then I should be able to go, I should be able to then pull that across like that. So I could do something like that, right? So that would be a way to, and it's like with each letter, I guess, you have like a different way that you could potentially interact with it. Um, you could press shift as well to keep it. But you see, it's like when I do that, when I pull it down like that, it is, even though I've only got those 2 points, it's because that. Let's put it back. So this you had those 2 points selected, but it's rotating around this line. Let me just look that. I just want to look at it again. So whichever way I go around, it's all like this is like the center point of the rotation. If I'm going in a big circle, imagine that center of that circle. So it's not just those 2 points I'm dealing with. It's kind of interesting. Because obviously it has to move. It has to move in relation to some other point. But in general, I think that is like a separate thing, right? Because if I was going to move this section here, normally I'd just be doing this. I'd just be holding shift and not. That is like, it's useful to know that, but it's like you probably won't be doing that. I wouldn't want to move it like up there, for instance. Most of these things to do. I mean, you can get some cool effects, but I think in general, you're not going to be doing that. You're simply going to be moving it in like one direction, right? But how would I, for instance, if I wanted to get like this, I wanted like a triangular, right angle triangle with the right angle here, right? So I want a right angle triangle. This is the right angle, and this is the hypotenuse here, right? So how are we going to do that? It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. It's not necessarily about using the suit. I think the lasso tool is useful, but I'm going to want to basically be able to pull this point down. So I wonder what happens if we just select that one point, right? Just this point here. So at the moment, 2 points are selected, 1 point is selected, 1 point is selected. So could I then just pull that down? I could, right? Uh, kind of difficult. Oh no, it does actually snap. I'm not sure exactly. Like, I think in this one you might just want to. I mean, for instance, that looks pretty accurate, right? Um, yeah, I think that's the way you would do it. You're not necessarily always going to have like a um, what's the way to look at it? You're not necessarily always going to have a guider, but I'm pretty sure that that is like a pretty good path, right? All right, so yeah, I just wanted to like have a little exploration with some of these letters we've got here and sort of see like what things we could, you know, like what we can think of doing and with each letter. So how do we select the next set? So yeah, when we go to direct selection, we can see all the points. Um, so B looks like quite a complex letter, doesn't it? Um, and again, if we just had these points selected, I wonder what happens because you see we can't use the selection tool because it will select the whole thing. So you always have to use direct selection for this. Um, so again, we're using like so. This is like an interesting thing as well, isn't it? We could do something like that. With the B, it's kind of obvious. It makes it's sort of like you can see that. That's a really cool effect. It's kind of funny how that looks so cool. Um, uh, yeah, it does look really cool. That it really looks like you're like yeah. I think we're gonna. I think that. I mean, I can't imagine like a better thing to do than that. Unfortunately for the C, it means the C is not going to be included. Sorry about that. Let us see. Okay, let's just move on. Like, 'cause obviously, we've got plenty of things to work with. I mean, it doesn't matter if one letter. They're all quite close to each other, all the letters as well. So, um, all right, let's have a look. I'm kind of wondering why. Do I need to select the? Yeah, it's sort of one thing I've realized. If you look in the layers, right, and you go into this section, you'll see that each letter, when you when what I did right at the beginning when I broke apart the image, I think this is actually what it did, right? And you can see there's the A and the B already. So we could start to like, and you can like hide them and stuff, and not so you can see the C. It is still there, right? It's just so there's different ways of looking at that. And then this blue indicates selected art. Yeah. All right. But like I say, we haven't even got to talking about layers yet. We're like way before that. But I was just like, it's just interesting to see like what actually happens, right? Okay, so but I think like in general, at this point, we're just going to think about how can we. There is actually another cool thing as well, which I didn't get to talking about. Um, and that is you do actually get some. You get another interesting thing happening. So at the moment we've got yeah. So it keeps the ones that are selected, right? Um, what if you select the whole lot? Also, I wonder about this lasso tool. I guess it's good for it to be like this, like thin line. It does look a bit. So they're all of the points selected, right? Um, so you can actually move in that way. You can actually move the shape around, like the whole shape, like you were in selection mode. I think if all the points are selected, that's all it does, right? It just moves the shape around. You can't actually interact any other way, or can you? Uh, yeah, you see, sometimes you get this line, which is this curved line. This is interesting. I'm hovering over here, but it's showing me the opposite corner. Let's look at this in a little more into a bit more detail here. Okay, it's when I press this button. There's this weird little thing, like that little white circle with the blue circle in the middle. And what that's doing is, I can turn it into an O like that, weirdly enough. Interesting, the left side of it doesn't actually go like that. This is like some like advanced corner rounding tool, I guess. I wonder if the actual number of points. That's interesting, isn't it? You see those 4 points just to the right where it says 18.18 pixels. They actually look like they actually merge into one another. I don't know if they're still there. I guess they're still there. They're just on the exact same point, and that is the most I can do it. And you can't go out anymore. So obviously these things are key, right? Um, and interestingly, if I do this, it does exactly the same thing. It turns it into a circle like that. Okay. All right, but now keep in mind this is because I've got every single point selected, right? Uh, just trying to think if there's a different approach to this. It almost looks like because we're working from this anchor point. Yeah, no, they all exist, right? I guess this is called an anchor point. Is there any sort of like? It looks like there's a couple of there's some options as well. Like, oh, that's interesting. So this is like some sort of other mode, isolation. I don't know what that means really. Like I said, we're just messing around for now.